Alright, so in today's video I want to talk a bit about this vacuum cleaner that I'll be retiring very soon, as in immediately after making this video. And so this has been my vacuum for about, I want to say about 10 years, give or take, probably take, but yeah. So it's gotten to the state, it's been fine for 5 years, right? And then what ended up happening is the people at Samsung, right, which have made a mechanically sound vacuum, kind of, right? It does vacuum and shit. Not that that would be that big a deal, but I mean, it does work. It still does work. But they've chosen a very shit plastic, which is extremely brittle, as in extremely. I can't talk about exactly what kind of plastic this is. I can just say it's... I've eaten biscuits that were harder than this, right? So you can even like snap small parts with... I mean, this does have the ridge, so it's a bit stronger. But anyway. And so what ended up happening is it had this little holder thing that would hold the tube up, right? And I obviously never used it because it seemed very fragile, even though I hadn't yet experienced the softness of this plastic. I wonder if I can just tear a hole in it. Nah, anyway. But yeah, so I've borrowed it to a friend back in my dorm when I was in uni, and he obviously thought it was a great idea to push it around on that. It immediately snapped. So it ended up having this big ass hole over here, which over time developed into something a lot more serious. Used to have a handle here that you'd press down to use the retracting thingamabob. That actually broke, so that's, I think, the only functional thing that broke on it. And it just always pulls the cable back, but that's not actually a problem. It's heavy enough so that you could just use it like that, and it's, yeah, not a big deal. So I've removed the brake, kind of, and yeah, then, right, the big issue with these vacuums, and actually this does carry forward to today's model, or at least newer models, of which I do actually have one. I have a red one that I basically stole from a friend. And the thing is, you would really think that you could grab it by this big ass handle, but no, you have to lift up a handle, right, that also presses to retract the cable, and then that's how you're supposed to carry it. So it's this 5-step process that you're supposed to do instead of just grabbing on it. So anyway, my girlfriend grabs this, right, and it immediately detaches, right? It was way more intact at the time, and so it detaches, it falls, it loses like almost its entire skull, basically, right? And I've just added some sanitary silicone over here just so electrical connections aren't too visible. And so I've been using it like that for at least 3 years. But what also happens is this falls, right? And the only thing I think I know is that this transparent shit must be polycarbonate. I don't know if it says on here. I don't think it does. But this does look like polycarbonate, and it did take a pretty serious fall, and it didn't crack. Usually that's how you'd expect polycarbonate to work. But anyway, so yeah, this is fine. However, this ended up having quite a few missing pieces after the fall, right? So I've actually gotten very pissed off. I've spent a few hours on this because I don't know, I felt like it was my will against the machine, with the machine wanting to die and be left alone. And yeah, fuck it. Could have bought a new vacuum. I mean, I'm not that poor. But I just decided, fuck it, I will fabricate a metal piece that's going to go on here. I've used 2-part epoxy to just hold it in there. And yeah, basically this was leaking like hell. This piece is just held on the other side with another metal insert that I've created. And yeah, basically why I want to make this video is that once I was done with the 3 hours, I did start writing on it, and it's kind of nice. I will feel bad for not having such a characterful vacuum left, right? So let's see what I've written on it. It's probably lame. It was 3 years ago, Daria, but I don't know. He seems like a nice guy. So yeah, this is the biggest hole. And then this was the most work, kind of. Hair, yeah. So yeah, basically, all right. Yeah, so I think that just about covers the, oh no, there's more. Yeah, so I think that's about it. And what I'll do now, oh, and by the way, these always come with this sponge thing that also has a secondary filter on the back, and that's doesn't look washable. So I always just, and it's tied to this one with like one of those plasticky things they put labels on clothes with. Just cut that off and just remove it. And then on the back, it has a HEPA filter, which, yeah, you could definitely buy some, but I just put a bit of cloth here just to filter out the fine particles. And I mean, if there's going to be fine particles, whatever, like they were here anyway, so might as well get them airborne. But because, yeah, the whole vacuum is 60 euros and then the filter is 15 to 25, right? So that didn't feel super worth it. And yeah, it's super loud. It's like insanely loud. I will turn it on, right? Because I've mentioned it. But all phones and all recording devices have what is called auto gain control. And so they will turn down the mic volume once actually perceived volumes will reach the max. So anyway, this is how this would be operated. Let's, do we put this back? Nah, let's just leave it here. It's gonna probably make a lot of fine dust, which I've talked about, but yeah. And it does have this very nice soft start feature, right? And yeah, quite a scratchy motor at this point, but yeah, let's just take it to full. And yeah, at this point, I don't know if anyone can hear what I'm saying, because this is loud as fuck. And yeah, that's been it for this short video. Yeah, if you have any similar stories, I'd love to hear them. But yeah, that's been it on my side.